My name is Kaz, and today's video I'm going to be talking about the differences between the United States of America and pretty much the rest of the world, particularly New Zealand because that's where I'm from. But the things I'm going to list are things that I've noticed that makes the United States different. So, let's start again. Okay. So the first thing that I noticed about Americans is that they are extremely friendly and they are up to have a conversation with anybody. So this is something that's very different, especially since I've been to the countries like Germany and France, where people don't seem very open, or they're not used to talking to people that aren't like within their close circles. In America, I feel like Americans just strike up a conversation with somebody they don't even know, and they'll talk about quite personal things, which most of the time I think it's a very good quality about Americans, that they're very friendly, and most of the time you're going to feel quite included in America. The second thing that I noticed about Americans is that Americans are very forward. So they're not very shy about what they're about to say to you, where I feel like in New Zealand people are very laid back. They don't, nothing's really an issue or anything, where I feel like an American will just blatantly say something to you, and within the first week of being in the States I was just like, what? Like, these are things that you wouldn't say to somebody in New Zealand, but Americans just freely say things, and yeah, so I feel like this is not just America though, it's also in other countries that I've been to as well. I feel like maybe New Zealanders are just very relaxed and they're not very forward with what they're thinking, or they're not very, not honest, but I feel like they hold back on a lot of what they're meaning to say. And another thing that I guess goes with this, number 3 would be that I found Americans to be a lot more flirtatious than New Zealanders. And the reason why I think this is because in New Zealand, guys are extremely shy. A guy could be friends with you for like 10 years and you wouldn't even know that he had a crush on you because he wouldn't say. Wherein I feel like in America, they literally be like, hey baby, how are you? Like, let's go on a date. Where New Zealanders are a little bit more shy. The guys are a little bit more shy, and people don't really talk about their feelings a whole lot here in New Zealand. Number 3. Okay, number 3 is patriotism. So, oh my gosh, Americans are so patriotic. I was so surprised. One thing that I was really surprised about was the amount of American flags on a street. So I think we were in New York, yeah, I think it was New York, and we were walking down the street and literally every house had an American flag, the Stars and Stripes, hanging outside their house. And I feel like in New Zealand that would be really like, you'd be considered like a loser if you did that. But I feel like in America it's the thing to do. Like, people just wear Stars and Stripes not only on their houses but also like in their clothes as well. Like, it's something that's very, very common. And also like people wear flags, or they put flags on their cars as well. And for me it was just so strange. Like, in New Zealand you never see that. Sometimes you might see like a maypole, like a pole with a flag on it, that's the New Zealand flag, but most of the time people don't wear the flag ever, like ever. So that was something that was very strange as well. Another thing that surprised me about America, that made it very different from other countries I've been to, is the emphasis that they put on the military. So in America, I would go to a lot of different places and there would always be like military discounts for different attractions we wanted to see or food we wanted to eat. And in New Zealand, we just don't have that. And I feel like there's so much more emphasis that is put on the military. With patriotism. Oh, another thing that kind of relates to the military is guns. So honestly, never ever get into an argument with an American about their guns and their rights under Amendment 2 or anything like that, because they're very, very for it. And for us, particularly in New Zealand, it's very, very uncommon for someone to own a gun. The only reason why you would have a gun would be like a shotgun or a rifle if you were a hunter or something like that. But even then, like, most people just don't have guns. Now, my dad was brought up on the beach and the farm, and like the beach was near a forest, if that makes sense. So I grew up with my dad having guns, but he would never ever use it. It'd be if he would go duck hunting with his friends or something like that, which was hardly ever. And yeah, I just feel like guns are a huge thing in the States, when in New Zealand, if you have a gun, you are considered like completely weird, I would say. Like, if you didn't have a purpose for it other than like shooting a duck or a possum, people would like think you were extremely weird. And like, I remember when we went into Walmart, there were guns sold at Walmart. So if that was to happen in New Zealand, so in New Zealand, our version of Walmart is called the Warehouse. Okay, it's like a big department store here in New Zealand. And if the Warehouse started selling guns, I swear to God, there would be so much protest towards it, it wouldn't be funny. So it's just very strange how opposite cultures can view things like guns. Another thing that I noticed about Americans is that they take their religion and politics very, very seriously. I found that there were some people who would not be friends with anybody because of their political views or their religious views or their gun law views over in the States, where I feel like in New Zealand, most people, maybe they just don't take those views as seriously, but they would still be friends. But that's just what I've seen from some people on my Facebook, have been defriending people who don't have the same views as them, which I don't think it should be like that, but that's just what I've seen. Another thing that I've noticed is as probably my video that I have shown on my Walmart video, which is still to this day the most popular video on my YouTube, I will link it down in the bottom bar below, is consumerism. So in America, they have so much variety of food and products, and there's so many things that like I would pick up. I'd go to the dollar store or Target or something, or even Walmart, and I'd be like, who would buy this? Like, I feel like if it was in New Zealand, only one person would buy it. But yeah, in America they have so much variety of things, and that was something that I do miss, you know, and yeah, I do miss it. That's one thing that I do miss from the States. Oh, okay, so here's another one, and it is celebrations. So in America, I feel like the holidays are celebrated so much more than in New Zealand. Like when we have Christmas or Easter, it's celebrated, but then still it's a regular day at home. We might have a barbecue, there might be a cake or some desserts and things, but it's not like a huge event. Where I feel like in America, things like Halloween and Easter and Independence Day and, you know, just Christmas and New Year's, everything is celebrated hugely. People have big parties. There's whole aisles in Walmart and places like that where people can buy things to decorate their house and to dress up in things. And there's a lot of different parties that you can go to with your friends or that different companies will host. So that is the end of my video. If you agree with any of these things, please leave it in the comment below and give it a thumbs up. If you don't agree with any things, let me know some other differences between America and New Zealand or where you're from that you think as well. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.